with me. I walk in faith. I walk in faith. Illumined as I walk. Illumined as I walk. God is my beacon, lighting my path as I walk in faith. God is my beacon, lighting my path as I walk in faith.
God is my beacon, lighting my path. God is my beacon, lighting my path. I invite you to close your eyes if it's comfortable, or soften your gaze. And just become aware of your breath. Relax just a little more deeply into your seat. Feel the security of spirit. Feel the safety of the one mind, of Source. Feel the comfort of this beacon of light that is always calling to us, always a mere breath away. God is our beacon of illumination as we walk, but also as we pause, as we sit in the stillness. God is our beacon of light with every word, with every action, with every step we take. When we have an intention of being the presence of love. So let us pause now in the stillness and the silence and the illuminated place in consciousness where there is a divine spark, individualized as you. Showing up to guide you in your thoughts, in your words, in your actions, in your beliefs. Let's pause here for just a moment in the stillness and in the silence and just rest. Every gentle pause invites a divine spark, a flash of insight. It invites inspiration. The will of the one mind, the will of Source to come forth and be the presence of love through you, as you. Open up to that beacon of light. I walk with faith along the path of light. Not the light from a street lamp, but the light of the Christ. That is not coming from outside you, but from within. Directing you to be love. And so with a gentle breath, as you're ready, I invite you back into this place and this time, this space that is illuminated, not only from sunlight, but from Christ's light in your eyes. With a gentle breath, when you're ready, into this space and this time, to welcome the light. And so it is.
I walk in faith. I walk in faith. Illumined as I walk. Illumined as I walk. God is my beacon, lighting my path as I walk in faith. God is my beacon, lighting my path. Oh, as I walk in faith. And as we prepare to receive Rev Todd's message, I'll sing this one for you. This one is by Jennifer Farron, and it's called Life is Magic. Life is brilliant, so resilient. Life is simply infinitely magic. Open your eyes, you'll see the way to let your life be magic every day. Life is special. Here we go. Life is special when it's love-filled. Life is simply infinitely magic. Open your heart, you'll feel the way to let your life be magic every day. Life's a treasure, such a pleasure. Life is simply infinitely magic. Open your mind, you'll know the way to let your life be magic every day. Life is splendor, such sweet surrender. Life is simply infinitely magic. Open your life and you'll find a way to let your life be magic every day. Let my life be magic. Let your life be magic. Let our lives be magic every day.
Thank you, Deidrey. I was not familiar with Jennifer. She's from the Atlanta area originally. from Southeast Unity. Southeast Unity Ministries, that's the other organization I'm a part of. And we have, two conferences. We have a conference Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week online. And I'm the director of that conference because I don't have anything else to do. No, because I love doing it. And I'm very excited to be doing it. So, and then I head out of town. But what fun. Thank you for introducing me to her, Deidrey. So we're in Lent, and the release and reimagine is the theme of this Lent booklet. And so this week we saw some ideas of like releasing illness and reimagine healing, releasing fear, reimagining wisdom. And you know, because we are fully human and fully divine, and we have this paradox and these tensions between what we know is spiritually true and the real happenings of the world. I talked to a friend this week who was only prepared to tell me that they did not get good news, which likely means that there's a cancer diagnosis, but was not ready to talk about it yet. And I get that, you know. I've got some other friends that are watching some loved ones struggle with some health issues. I've got a lot of people I am very fond of and close to that are struggling with the manifest appearances and the state of the world and bombs dropping and such. And I know some people, maybe some of you even feel that low hum of anxiety that you can't really quiet down. Do you hear that? Do you feel that? And you're like, to me, it's like when Zoomer or Layla get a hold of a squeak toy, right? It's that, you know, that just sends my anxiety up and up and up and up. You know, luckily, what I have learned about my precious, precious pups is they like to rip the squeaker out. And then I can throw it away and I don't have to hear it anymore. But then I do have to collect the bits of the innards of their plushies end up all over wherever I'm living. It's everywhere. But we have this rhythm that is showing up in this booklet that's inviting us to release illness, to release our fear, to reimagine what it means to be healed, to reimagine what wisdom is. And, you know, this can get tricky, it can get messy, because sometimes we think that in this Pollyanna-ish world that it's inviting us to deny an illness, to deny symptoms. To think like, well, this isn't real. I've made this up in my head. And then to punish ourselves. What am I holding in consciousness that has created this? Which is ridiculous, and don't do that to yourselves. Yes? Yes. We get that. Okay, I want to make sure, right? It means that we release the belief that an illness becomes our identity. I recently had a conversation with someone I love very much who kept referring to something as their cancer. Their cancer. And, you know, just a loving little nudge to say, hey, let's stop owning that. Let's stop claiming that as our own. This is an experience. But who we are is so much greater than any one little label or anything that we want to claim. We are so much greater than that. And I was so delighted that whenever I feel heard, I'm delighted. But they took that in and they were like, wow, that is meaningful. That is meaningful, and thank you. We in this paradox, this manifest life that we're living here on playground planet Earth, right, is the result of, in consciousness, we ate from the tree of duality, of good and evil, and so we believe that there are two things, that there's this and that there's that, and the truth is that in this manifest world we have facts, and then we have truth, spiritual truth, capital T, truth. And over the course of this, the history of this giant rock hurling through space, I don't know if you've noticed, but facts change. Like, it used to be a fact that the sun circled the earth, right? Or it used to be fact that the earth was flat. And while that is still fact in some communities, I haven't been up in space to see, so I'm not gonna weigh in on that. But the thing is that facts can change. Spiritual truth never changes. And then we this duality is also kind of a duality between faith or religion and science. Have you ever seen those come at odds? Yeah. This is from The Atom Smashing Power of Mind by Charles Fillmore, our co-founder of Unity. Anyone who will search for the science and religion and the religion and science will find that they harmonize and prove each other. The point of unity is the spirit mind common to both. So long as religion assumes that the spirit that creates and sustains man and the universe can be cajoled and by prayer or some other appeal can be induced to change its laws, it cannot hope to be recognized by those who know that unchangeable law rules everywhere and in everything. Again, so long as science ignores the principle of intelligence in the evolutionary and directive forces of man and in the universe, just so long will it fail to understand religion and the power of thought and the changes that are constantly taking place in the world, visible and invisible. Science and religion prove each other. And if we dedicate ourselves to believing that our prayers or our spell work or our rune casting or whatever other tools you want are going to change the world, you're missing the mark, because all of those are forms of prayer that are about changing us, changing who we are in consciousness. And that's what we teach at Unity. It's about changing who we are in consciousness. In our scriptures, once we get past our Gospels and we have Paul called this the mystery that was hidden for the ages. Christ in you, the hope of glory. Christ in you, the hope of glory. It's not poetic language. It's scientific law. The Christ in you, right? There's stories about building temples, about building churches, and when you look to the letter of the scriptures and you think, okay, that means we have to be in this building, you're missing the mark, because the tabernacle, the temple, these are symbols of consciousness, and it resides in you. And that's why a lot of people that I've talked to in this community that come together at Crystal Coast Unity, and a lot of people that I talk to in the world that are unchurched, they tell me, I find God when I'm out in the woods. I find God when I walk along the beach. I find God on a mountaintop. Yes, because wherever you are, God is. And so you don't have to be in this building. You don't have to be logged in right now, though I'm really glad y'all are logged in right now. But wherever you are, God is, because you are the temple. Where do we meet God? Not in a building, but in our own body and our own mind. And so in this part of Lent, one of the things that we are invited to overcome, as Jesus overcame, is recognizing that our body is not our enemy. Who we are inhabits this, but this is not us. It is the temple of the Lord our God. But it's not an enemy. It is simply the meeting place of spirit for you. So in our scriptures, we're told that the Israelites, when they have built this tabernacle, and it says the Israelites did not move forward when the cloud remained over the tabernacle. They didn't move forward when the cloud remained over the tabernacle. When the mind is clouded by fear, of murmuring, of resentment, of anger, of somebody done did me wrong, our consciousness stalls. We do not grow. We do not move forward. We cannot walk in the light when our consciousness is covered with error thinking. In Adam Smashing Power of Mind, Fillmore writes, "It is written that the Israelites did not go forward on days when the cloud remained over the tabernacle, but when the cloud was taken up, they went forward. This means that there is no soul progress for man when his body is under the shadow of a clouded mind. But when the cloud is removed, there is an upward and forward movement of the whole consciousness for all people." Your consciousness matters not just for you, but for the whole of humanity. Stop living under the shadow of fear, of lack, of limitation, of error thinking. We are warned of the effect of thoughts that are against or opposed to the commandments of Jehovah. When we murmur and complain, we cloud our minds, and divine mind cannot reach us or help us. Then we usually loaf until something turns up that causes us to think on happier things when we go forward again. Have you noticed that in yourself? I think I briefly mentioned this to a couple of you. I don't think I've given it in a talk. Not too long ago, my car, new to me by less than a month, got hit in the parking lot at Panera Bread. You know, deep scratches in that car. I could see the metal. You know, and in my thought, I was like, well, I'm going to have a paint job done because, you know, in this air, salt air, rust will start, you know, in about 20 minutes. And I found out about this because someone came in from the parking lot ranting and raving. Who drives a red truck? That's me. Someone just hit your car, and then they moved and parked somewhere else, so you wouldn't know it was them, but my husband saw it happen. But he got riled up, and let me tell you what, I jumped right in there to be mad and angry and talk about how horrible people are. Oh, it was awful. Buddy, I jumped right in there, and there was a cloud over my perception. It was crazy. I went straight there with this person. We became fast friends, talking about the doom and destruction and how terrible people are, not taking responsibility for their actions. So, you know, I did what I needed to do. I contacted the local authorities on the non-emergency number. Someone came, found the driver inside the restaurant because they still came in to eat. You know, and was sitting at the table right beside me when the lady came in. Did they come and tell you? No. They were sitting right there the whole time. They could have said, oh, that was me. I'm so sorry. No, none of that. So, woo. I was hot, y'all. It was ridiculous. But I just, when she looked at me, she was clearly on the phone with her parents. And I said, I just wish you would have told me yourself. Just wish you would have told me yourself. I was still kind of mad because, it was inconvenient. It's inconvenient to have to go and get your car painted, But, it's not, y'all, it's been within the past 12 months that I backed my car up here in the parking lot at the church and ran smack dab into one of your cars and had to go and have the door fixed. Didn't I? Because, while I am human, I'm fully human, I am divine, but, sometimes my humanness overtakes, and I was clouded, and the light was not getting in, and the next morning I was ready to pick up the phone, and I was going to call somebody and tell them about this horrible experience, and I read an affirmation. I look for the good and find the good in everything. I had not been looking for the good. I didn't. And so I sat down. Okay, good. I get to do my forgiveness work for myself, for jumping into this crazy idea of right and wrong and bad, and you have messed up my material world, blah, blah, blah. And I was angry, and so I ended up not calling this person. I kept forgiving myself. I kept forgiving that driver. I kept forgiving my new best friend, for inviting me on that little tirade. And I have pictures I can show you. I could see the metal on my truck. And I went to the car wash, and I washed my truck, and there was nothing there. There was no damage at all. And I can't explain that other than to say, do your forgiveness work, y'all. Do your forgiveness work. See, when we have a clouded mind, when we are standing underneath the clouds of our own thoughts, our own beliefs, our own actions, right? We are condemning it, and we are not allowing the light of source into our lives. And anything that we do that is judging others, that is judging ourselves, that is calling anything bad, and that does not mean that bad things don't happen in the material plane, because there are plenty of bad things that are happening in the world. But spiritually, the truth of everything is that it is being created, and God is calling it good. And some good is going to come from it, and we have to look. And what I know is that in the span of our lifetimes, there are things that are going to happen that we are not ever going to see the good that comes from them. Ever. But either we have faith in the presence of love overcoming, or we don't. It cannot be conditional on the out picturing in the world. And there are terrible things happening in the world right now. And I want you to know that when we have that murmuring and that complaining, and when we have a clouded mind, and what happens is not punishment. Right? Because we don't have a God that punishes and rewards. We have principle. It is the outpicturing of the consciousness that we are holding. A fearful thought will radiate just like a grateful thought will radiate. And I was radiating on gratitude yesterday that I had people that loved me enough to help me figure out how to get a sofa through a doorway that was too small. That I had people showing up to lovingly look at me and say, "You have too many bowls." I bought all these bowls and all these dishes because I was going to have all these dinner parties. And Sarah said, how many dinner parties have you had since you bought these dishes? Well, less than 10. And when did you buy them? About 12 years ago. It's time to let them go. It's time to let them go. And so I focus on the gratitude of that. And you know what showed up? A blueberry cherry pie. My love language. When the clouds are clear, here's the science for you. Here, when the clouds are clear and we are thinking and we are keeping our focus on the positive, on the good stuff, when we're looking for the good and all these synapses are firing off, do you know that your cells literally emit light? You literally emit light from your brain. The higher the metabolic activity in your body, the more light comes off of you. And so when you are focusing on thinking about the good, you literally emanate light. I'll send you the scientific study if you want to read about it. But it's so cool. Science and religion meet. It is the truth. And so when we're doing this and we're looking for, okay, where is the illumination? Where is the presence of God when all this other bad stuff is showing up, right? Because war disrupts, illness disrupts, lack disrupts, and not knowing what's next disrupts. And each one of those has symptoms of things. Healing is not the same as finding a cure. Healing is not about finding the next job. Healing is not about finding the next relationship that works. Healing is not about having a department of peace instead of a department of war. Healing is remembering who we are beneath any condition. Remembering who we are beneath any condition. You are an individualized expression of the Christ. Christ in you, your hope of glory. That is who you are. And so you might get a diagnosis, you might get a pink slip, you might get a divorce decree, and none of those are your identity. What the facts may say is not the truth, and the truth is is that Christ in you is untouched by anything out here in playground planet Earth. Christ in you is untouched. And when we have that shift in consciousness, it doesn't ignore our body, it illuminates it. And you've met those people that are illuminated. You've met them, you've seen them, and you are attracted to them. Like moths to a flame, we tend to be drawn to people that are shining. And we can't really explain it because that shine is very rarely actually seen by the eyes. I know a few of you see auras and all that sort of stuff, and I think that's great and wonderful. My woo is different. But hey, who am I to say it's not true? Our daily word today said, I walk with faith along the path of light. The light I seek is already within me. In Psalms we read, it is you who light my lamp. It is you who lights up my darkness. Light is understanding. Light is awareness. Light is the spiritual truth that is breaking through fear, through limitation, through anything that is not love. And our fear, it kind of sits there on the shoulder sometimes, right? And it says, but what if this gets worse? What if this gets really, really bad? And our wisdom says, what is spiritually true right now? What is spiritually true right now? And wisdom is not about this intellectual, knowledge in the brain, the intellect. Wisdom is this illumined place coming forth that you just know, and you rest with hope and with faith and know that while this feels awful, this looks horrible, I am upset, I am angry, I am scared, that God is calling it good. And so I deny fear has no control in my mind at this moment, and I affirm the light in me sees clearly now. Not that I'm not going to pray for patience. I'm not going to pray that understanding eventually comes. No, I want to know it right here and right now. At the level of spirit, at the place where God resides in its fullness, there is only right here and right now, and all that wisdom is there in this moment. And so who am I to say that God can't give it to me right now? I don't want to wait my whole life to be able to see the good that comes out of situations. I'm going to affirm it now. I'm going to affirm it right here. I am releasing fear and I am reimagining wisdom. I am releasing dis-ease in my consciousness, and I am reimagining wholeness as my truth. Will y'all play with me for a moment? I invite you to close your eyes if you're willing. I invite you to look and see where fear has clouded your thinking. Maybe about your physical spacesuit that you get to wander around this playground in. Maybe about what the future might hold for you. And when the clouds show up, and they will, do not fight them. Do not shoo them away. Simply acknowledge them. And now with intention, I want you to imagine a light from the very center of your being, from the very center of your consciousness and your physical being, a light becoming brighter and brighter and brighter. It is a light not from outside you, but from within. That spark of divinity, that individualized spark of life, of love, of will and wisdom, and zeal and order, showing up at the point of you. Christ in you, your hope and glory. Let that light grow brighter. Let it reach the places of worry. Let it reach the place of diagnosis, of uncertainty. Stay with what is spiritually true. You are a temple of the living God. And with a gentle breath, see that the clouds are lifting. The joy of Jehovah is your strength. The joy of Jehovah is my strength. The joy of Jehovah is our strength. And when those little voices in the back of your head, when those clouds show up and they say, how can I feel joy when I have dis-ease? How can I feel joy when I am afraid, when I'm worried? Jesus said, come unto me and I will give you rest. The first move out of the clouds is a proclamation. In the midst of any circumstance, we can proclaim the presence and the power of the living God, the presence and the power of God. Wherever God is, I am. Wherever I am, God is. God is here and right now for each and every one of us. And so this is our mental discipline as we learn how to live into the truth, the spiritual truth, and not be distracted. This is our direction. And so as you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes. And welcome the awareness of the facts of your life. Facts change. Facts change. 6 years ago, I lived in New Jersey. It was true. I live in North Carolina now. Facts change. But spiritually, truth is unchanging. We are not abandoned. We are not merely physical beings. We are not defined by fear. We are not separate from wisdom, and we are not waiting for anyone to rescue us. You, my friend, are a sanctuary. You are lighted from within. You are capable of radiance, and you are capable of joy. Even when the appearances of the world would have you believe otherwise. And you are capable of moving forward. With intention, those clouds can lift. So this week, when fear shows up, or worry, or another diagnosis, or a certified letter from somebody that you would rather set on fire right now, Instead of going down that path, instead of talking about how terrible and horrible people are, How people need to take accountability for when they run into your car or your feelings. Or don't say thank you when you hold the door open. See how silly we can be? When all those things happen, just pause and ask, what is spiritually true? Remember your birthright. And remember Christ in me. Christ in me. Say that with me. Christ in me. And whenever you struggle to find an affirmation, use that one. Because it's true. Christ in you. And then stay there, centered in that place of truth. And apparently that's enough. Thanks for listening today. I love you all.
Thank you, Rev Todd, for your amazing message. Christ in me. I thought this song by Claudia Carawan works really well for this, for our message. Let's try that again. To see the world with a cynic's view. I thought the winning game was only relegated to the lucky few. But now I know if you choose, the happiness will come to you. And so make more room for God. I was unaware. I was caught up in this mindset, struggling to get my share. But now with eyes wide open, I see the good everywhere. And so I'm making more room for God. So I'll open up my heart, and I'm lifting up my thoughts, and I'm breaking down the walls that surround my mind. I said something amazing is happening right now. Oh yes, I'm making more room for God. I never could imagine this to be the case. The years of pain and heartache are all erased. And now I know the meaning of amazing grace. I am making more room for God. Standing at the crossroads, I've never felt so strong. If love has changed your life, why don't you pass it on?